Okay. Okay. Floor is yours, Suba.
Hey, thank you. Um, like I said, I'm very honored to be presenting my experience with the Dance Mandal group. Um, so I'm going to start to share my screen over here. And somebody please let me know if you can see it, and I will go full screen.
Yes.
It's working. Thank you. So again, this has like been a very long journey or an adventure with the Dance Mandal team, and like Prajal already introduced, I know him from very beginning. Since I moved to Portland, I've been um, good friends with him for a very, very long time, and I've always helped Prajal and Helen and the whole team out there the best I could do. I didn't have a big role, but I was always there helping, and whatever needed, I was always there. And it just turns to be, after so many years, I'm still with the team. Um, so I'll be talking about myself a little bit, and how I met Prajwal and Helen, and then the construction of the Vihara, a little bit about that. I know there was a discussion a few days ago about this, and also the consecration, a little bit on that. And I wanted to bring it back to my topic. I'd say about living the Vihara. I wanted to make a little bit clearer. I mean, when I chose the topic, I wasn't sure what I was going to call it. So um, the Vihara revolves around my life. So I've been through a few Viharas in my life, and this is the third one, and how it affects me and my family and my my ancestry. It's all we've all been born inside one or the other Viharas. So I have a little bit about that, and the ceremonies of life that the Nevars go through, which again the dance mandal and the Nitya mandal Vihara is very much into all that ceremonies. And then in the end, I have some pictures which I used to at least give a helping hand. I had a camera with me, and I just went wherever Prajal and Helen went and started taking pictures left and right. And some of them turned out nice. So I'll be sharing some of those with you today. So with the introduction, again, this picture was taken at the temple. We all know this very well. This was during the time of Buddha Jayanti. We were putting up flags. So I live in Hermiston, Oregon, if you haven't known yet. I got a wife and 2 kids. I've been working here in Hermiston for the past 13 years as an irrigation engineering. And I'm in mid-40s. I'm Buddhist by faith. I love all religion, but I'm Buddhist by faith. I can speak Nawa, Nepali, and English, and some bit of Hindi, and I got influence in Bengali also when I grew up in Kalimpong, India. So there's a little bit of those two. And where I live right now, we have about 15 Nepalese families in the Tri-Cities community area, and then we help each other, whether it's we even did some Nepali program a few years ago, and I was instrumental in it also. And I love to go hiking once in a while, and my family loves it too. Upa likes to cook. Arya, she's 9 years old, and she likes to play piano. And Veena is 7, and she likes building Lego and also biking. And together we are SUVA, and we did not even plan that actually, it just happened. So I'm gonna take you back 21 years. It's a year I came to US. It was October 2020, 2000, when I left for Nepal. I was in a green card lottery, or the diversity immigration lottery program, and we were not quite sure what was that. I was so busy with my college, my thesis, my exams, and all that I paid little attention to coming to US. at that time. And when I was done with that, it was already time to go. So I didn't believe myself I'd be in the US back then, actually. So until I landed in the US, and then I met my uncle Daya, who's here with us, at the airport, and he picked me up and like, oh, okay, we're in the US now. Okay. So that was until then, I did not believe that I was going to be in the US. And back then also around late November, I think that's when there was a cultural program that Uncle Daya was putting together. Well, before that, actually, maybe I went one slide ahead here. So the world was new to me back then, and it was going through lots of new things, new cultures, and a mixture of lots of things. And I, obviously got some culture shocks. And I wanted some time off because I had just finished college in Nepal after a busy life. I just wanted to explore, and I missed my family back then. And along the same time, I was asked to write an article, a little speech on Prajwal. And he was a chariot dancer, and he traveled the world, and he did all kinds of dances, and he was coming to Portland. It was a very exciting moment for all of us in Portland back then. And then when I read his little articles, I got very excited about him, and I said, how can I come to the airport and at least see him? So I actually went to the airport to see Prajwal. And then we kind of shook hands and say, nice to meet you, and then bye-bye. That was it. That was my first meeting with Prajwal at the airport. And I was, I should say, an insignificant person at the time. And the next time was when it was a Nepal night event in Portland at Master Divakar's place in Hollywood Taekwondo School. At that time, that place was the event place for any Nepali programs. And we organized a Nepal night event for Prajwal at that time. And that was my first experience, a live experience, watching a chariot dance and performed by Prajwal at the time. Well, he kind of left us again, and then not until 2002 that I ran into him at a strange place. It was me and some friends. We were at the Chinese garden at the Tower of Tea. We went to the Tower of Tea, and then he came and served us tea. I was very surprised that Prajwal, who met a year ago and was dancing, and now he's serving tea, and said, well, here I am, and here you are again. So and then we exchanged our phone numbers, and then we said, oh, well, we'll catch up on the phone. So we just started talking at the time, and then we just got very friendly at the time, and I gave all my support to him as whatever he needed to perform his dances, and wherever he needed to go, I said, I'm here to help you. I'm excited you're doing this, and I'd like to promote Nepali Buddhism also in the West, and this is a good opportunity for myself to help others. And I said, I'm with you. So from then onwards, our journey started until now. He still calls me when he needs help. So in 2003, well, I guess I forgot to tell you that I've been putting years there. So it's kind of on a chronological order. This picture was at the Chinese temple where I used to go before I met Prajwal. I used to go there, and every weekend they had some ceremonies going on, and I helped the monk over there also with his events, and he was also very warm welcoming to me, and he knew me very well. He was a very good friend with me, and I told him, hey, I met Prajwal, and he's a dancer, so if you'd like to come perform dance, and you have a very good venue. So he let Prajwal and Helen and the dance team perform at this temple also. And it was a journey back then when I started helping, and I bought a car. My first car is a 2006 Honda Accord hatchback gold. And I know some of you remember it because we abused it a few times. I can see Helen shaking her head. So. And Helen helped a lot too with that car. So thank you, Helen. And then at that time, then I could drive around Portugal and get even to further places. And I remember we stopped by FedEx photocopy machines. We printed like 50 copies of flyers, and then we carried our stapler gun, and then we walked down the streets, pinning every post we could find on the wall, and wherever we could, there were posters, we could just pin flyers around the street. And I think it's 2004, I'm not sure, I may have to correct that. So there was a time when Prajwal moved to his new place, an apartment in Division, and that's when Helen showed up from California. She was very keen with Prajwal's teachings. She was very, very interested with what Prajwal was doing. And then, she would join the team with the dance practices. And obviously, apartment being on the first floor was not a very good place for dancing. And after a few months, Helen bought a house in not Houghton Division, which turned into a kind of a dance studio. And then we didn't have to go look for other places to perform. It was done right at the dance studio whenever we wanted. And I remember we even had, which actually a few days ago in the discussion, Helen had talked about the Nepal night was performed, where we had like a museum event where there were mostly Newar culture events happening. And then she was very inspired by the culture at that time. So, I again continued to help, and whether it was the division at Helen's house, or whether it was Bob's Anita's place, or whether it was a Chinese temple, or one of the most significant places the performance happened was at the Arlene's Nature Concert Hall in downtown Portland. And that was, I would say, one of the biggest event I've witnessed. And I was asked to be a photographer at that time. And I had just bought a new digital camera at that time. That was my first time being out there, taking pictures of the dances without even having tried the camera. And they turned out very good. So later on in this show, I have some pictures to show from the concert. And then when I moved to, I was living at Barbara Boulevard in Portland, and Prajwal and Helen, constantly visited me. They wanted flyers and posters, and we were working very hard on getting, working together with the programs. So in 2004, again, Prajwal being a very frequent traveler back then, always traveling for dances, and he said, he had a very big program coming up in Germany. It was called Musica Sacra International. And he said, well, the big ensemble from Nepal is coming to perform. And he was very busy with events, scheduling, and lining up people to come, and visas and whatnot. And he said it was such a busy time at that time. And he was also very excited that it was happening. And then he also said, hey, by the way, I have a student, a girl student, which you might be interested in, and she's coming to Germany with me. So I said, well, and then he showed me a picture of her, and it was a group picture. It was a tiny, small group picture. I said, okay, fine, just let her call, call me when you get there. And I said, I gotta go. So, and I said, that's not gonna happen. He's not gonna call me all the way from Germany. So, and then he did call me. It was at my work phone, and we had, our work phone was like a common, where somebody had to page you, and then you had to go to a common wall to grab the phone. And I was paged and said I had a call. I didn't know who he was, and it was Prajwal. And like, oh, I'm all the way from Germany, and I just, well, I can't speak loud, but okay, well. And he said, here, talk to her. What? So I was very confused of what's happening over there. So he gave the phone to her, and then I was speechless. Like, okay, what do I say now? I was not even prepared for this. I thought it was a joke. So, and then I talked to her, for a few minutes, and then that first phone call turned into emails, and then we communicated by email quite a few times. And later that year, I visited Nepal and met her in person. And now Upa and I have been married for 11 years. So I have a QR code over here of their performances in music soccer. Somebody, I guess the organizers had videos, YouTube videos. So you're gonna get a chance, please scan the code and look at it. And the next year after that, it was kind of a difficult year for me. I was taking community college classes, and I was not sure where I was headed to because the classes was just one at a time, and I was not sure where this was headed to. And so I had to make some decisions, some big decisions. And I applied at the Oregon State University and applied for the water resource program and got accepted there. And it was sad to leave Portland at the time. I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready to leave people I knew. I was getting so used to a family in my neighborhood that I was helping. Actually, there was like 4 or 5 families that moved into my neighborhood, and I was helping them so much. I didn't want to leave them helpless, but I had to go. So it was kind of sad for me to leave people like that. And then Prajal, I was a little bit away from the dance mandal events in 2005, and it was a difficult year for me. And then when I caught up with Prajal, he said, we are planning on building a Neva Buddhist temple. I said, well, that's good. That's good news. And I said, well, I got accepted in OSC. I got to go. Bye. So I left him at that level, and I just got disconnected with the dance medal team for a while because I was very busy with college, new place, homework assignments, classworks, and people, and study program. So I got very busy. I didn't get to talk to people in Portland. But the dance mandals, the Viharas, it looked promising. It seemed like it was a promising project that it would happen someday. And again, Helen was very, very anxious about events back then, and she would just, I knew Helen was serious about it when she said that. And then next thing I know, they bought a house at the current Vihara location, and Prajal showed me the place. He showed me the garage, which was going to turn into the temple. And I kind of helped clean the garage a little bit when I was there. So it was really happening. So in 2006, when I was in college, I used to visit the place quite often. When there was a little party, Prajal would invite me for the party, and I would bring some people in, and met lots of people over there. So this picture, if you can see, is the old hallway or the old meeting room where the window is a little bit different than what is right now. And also the library now used to be like a dance studio with didn't have much in there. In 2007, when I was still in college, I went on a 10-day retreat for Vipassana. And that was an eye-opening event for me, a life event for me that, I didn't know what meditation was. And I got really myself. I meditated for a few years after that, and I really liked doing it. It was an eye-opener for me. It was different than what we grew up in our own culture, like in Nepal, because we are taught about the morning rituals and evening rituals, but nobody really explained what the meaning was. So we were lacking a lot of spiritual practices. But Vipassana really was a good eye-opener for me. Although Vipassana does not go into any religion, it's non-religious, but it's a good practice for everybody. So the project Vihara was in full swing, and I visited a few times. And you may have already listened to the talk by Helen and Mayu a few days ago. And this was, again, I borrowed pictures from Prajwal. He's already shown some of these pictures last time. The structure of the temple was complete. It was getting close to being done, and everybody was very happy. And Maya was very, very big-hearted person to talk to. It was such nice, we were always good friends. And in 2008, I finished college and I moved down to the basement of the temple. And Prajwal was, well, if you've done college, just come back to the temple. We need you. And so I moved to the basement. And he was very kind that he let me live in his basement for a few months until I got a job in Hermiston. So back then in 2008, okay, it was Brenda. I forgot to mention Brenda was also with us at that time. And I graduated from OSU. So in August, on August 14, 2008 was a kind of difficult day for me to digest. We had my family went through a tragedy. My eldest sister passed away that day, and I was on my way back to Portland to go to Nepal. Before I got to Portland, I called Prajwal to give the sad news saying, hey, I need to go to Nepal, such thing happened. But he turned around and told me, I have a bad news too. We had a fire this morning. And it was difficult to, hang on just a second. And he said few of the crew members were injured during the accident. So that year, Prajwal had a very hard time going through those days. He could not live in the house. He was almost living homeless. He moved into the temple grounds. And he said he lived in a tent for quite a bit, but he was always open-hearted and very, very friendly and always welcoming to the temple at the time. So I say he was going through a big test from the gods. Everybody has to go through the test. And the fire actually did not stop Prajwal and Helen from performing, and with programs happening all over the place, they would still travel. And I would be called to take pictures because I had the camera with me back then. And I enjoyed taking pictures of the dances. It was always pleasing to take pictures of the dances. And coming close to 2009, the Vihara work resumed after the insurance built a house. And there was an opportunity to transform the building with a nice courtyard in the front facing the temple. It was a good change that happened, and the temple was getting close to being done. There was already plans to do the consecration that year. So again, the team was busy, planning and setting up a date and, applying visas and calling the gurus over from Nepal. And finally, November 9, 2009, it was the day of the consecration. It started at Lower Salt Park, Southeast Portland, Oregon. It was a beautiful day. It was rainy, but it was still beautiful. And I keep telling everybody it was a day when even the deities and the gods came down and blessed the ceremony. And here are some pictures from the procession that day. We had the Buddha on the chariot. It was taking few blocks across the southeast city. and there were Buddhist flags waving around town. There were lots of Nepalese people, lots of um, uh, friends and families. Everybody just showed up for the big event. And I was very happy that even the city allowed us to um, do the ceremony and do a parade down the streets. And so in this picture, I didn't know back then, but the picture next to me, and I was drumming. I had the Nepali drum ta, and Michael Sterling, the popular musician in Portland, was with me then with the drum. I'm sorry, with the cymbals. So after this was the ritual where where Gurju Yekamanpati Gurju visited from Nepal to perform the ritual. And obviously, when there's big events, there's always food. The food is the best part of the temple culture. There's always Nepali food there. There's always some celebration going on, and cooking and the food makes the event even more exciting. So I'm going to change the subject a little bit and focus on my topic here, the viharas in my life. So this was the first vihara I went to. I grew up in Kalimpong, India, and this is Kalimpong Dharmadya Sabha. It's a vihara. It's a library for studying Pali, for the Theravada bhikshus who in 1950s were thrown out from Nepal. Back then, they moved to Sarnath, and a Nepali merchant, Gyanjoti Sahu, at that time invited those Bantes to come and live at the vihara, and it turned into being a temple. And the above picture, if you see at the corner, the little statue of Buddha on the left side is the original statue that was donated from Burma. And with that statue began the temple. It's the outside of the temple looks like a little swayambhu, and the bottom picture is the vihara, which is a step lower than the temple. So again, comparing my life parallel to what dance mandal, the Nitya Mandal Vihara is right now, Dharmadya Sabha Vihara was at the time also an event for me. So okay, so I got some notes over here, which I already said. So we used to have Guti works in the Vihara, and there was maybe 30 or 40, maybe not 30, 40, but maybe at least 15 to 20 the Newar people living in Kalimpong visited the temple, and we had Guti going on every year. And then like over here, we celebrate Buddha Jayanti there. We did Gurma festivals and bhajans every morning, and we had our own Guti roles to play. And the most eventful, I think, for me was when the Dalai Lama, His Holiness the Dalai Lama visited the temple in the early 80s, and I was within a few feet of him. And later on in the 80s, Dharmadya School was established, and by the time I had already moved to Nepal. And my next vihara is the Itumbahal Kechandra Guti. This is our lineage Guti, where all my ancestors and my parents all go to. And I had my Bhartabandha done in this temple also. So I had a very small window living in Nepal I lived in Nepal for only about 6 years. And in that small window, just 2 years, I was active participant of the Vihara over there. So I learned drumming, I helped people, I went to every event that they had I was going to the Shi gutis, which is the guti of when somebody dies. There's a guti for that. So I used to go down to the pyres and burn bodies and be there all night until the pyre was done. And this is a picture of me and my mom at the Bahal, and the one to the left is the most recent picture early this year. And now this is my third Vihara, Portland Bahar. I've been actively participating since 2001. I took dance photography for a few years, and participated in Buddha Jayanti celebrations, helped with the cooking, did the Nam Sangiti readings, chantings, and did some few Nitya Pujas. So now the third part over here is the ceremonies of life, which, being a Newar, we have 3 or 4 different ceremonies, milestones that we reach, and then we celebrate those milestones. And being in front of living in Portland, or living by Portland, where we have a Newar temple right next to us, it's a blessing to people in this community over here. Starting with the Macha Janku, or the baby Janku, it's Siddharth's Macha Janku, Ani's son. And then the one to the left to the right is Arya's Macha Janku. So Macha Janku is also synonymous to a rice feeding ceremony or annapasana. And the next is the Ihis ceremony for the young adolescent girls, where the pre-adolescent Newari girls get married to to God Vishnu. So this is Amrita, Arya, and Veena's Ihis ceremony in 2018. And most recently, we had the Vihara ceremony for Veena, Amrita, Trisha, and Arya. And some of us have been actively participating in events like these. How can we forget this event? We had Mark and Berry's Janku in 2018, and recently we had Tier and Linda's in 2021. And the weddings too. And if I'm not wrong, this is the first wedding at the temple. John and Corinne got married at the temple, and I was there. And I'm sure there's more and more, a lot more weddings happened after this wedding. And then I have some list of some volunteers, which again, some of the volunteers already showed up in a few days in the discussion a few days ago. This is Ishan Shakya. He also was a photographer himself. He was a very, very open-hearted boy. He did lots of helping around Prajwal, and he was just ready to do anything. He's currently living in Olympia, Washington, and active duty in the U.S. Army. He has a wife and a son. And here we have Ani. Ani has been around for a long time also, and he's another person who is always very, very warm-hearted and always ready to help Prajwal and the temple events. He's taking his vacations way early so that he gets accepted. So his vacation gets accepted, and he has Isha and Siddharth, his son and daughter and son, come to the temple and keep my daughters occupied. And next we have Dina Shakya. She's my cousin, who you all know that she was at the temple helping Prajwal while he was gone. She would clean, she would do the arati, she would do the nitya pujas and all that. And she was also very, very dedicated to the temple. We have Lakshman also. Back then, Lakshman used to come very often to the temple and help with the cooking and help with other things. And whenever you get a chance, you sit down with Lakshman and he can talk so much about Vipassana. He can go all day about Vipassana, which was very interesting. And Prajwal and I used to visit. I know Lakshman since Lakshman came to the US before I did, and Prajwal and I used to visit him in Seattle a few times and talk about events we in Seattle, and we just hung out and just as friends we just talked. And he was back then a professional cook, so he came and helped Prajwal with the cooking back then. He knows a lot about Buddhism and Vipassana meditation. And Kusmavati Didi is a nini for my kids, which is a sister. And she's a Gurmaju, so behind every successful temple, there's a Gurmaju who makes the event successful. So, and she's always there for the backbone support, for helping the kitchen and doing pujas. And then we have kids volunteers also. We have Arya, Veena, we have Amrita, we have Isha, and there were other kids too. And you may remember we had a play in one of the Buddhas in the celebration, which I still remember. So with that, I'm gonna move on to some photo moments that I took, and I went through my Google Photos and I found out some, I put together some nice photos that it's worth showing. This one was at the Arlene's Nature Concert Hall in Portland, Oregon in 2005. And this one was also the same event. And so is this one. This is Brenda, Prajwal, and Helen in 2005 at the Arlene's Nature Concert Hall. And this one is the dance mandal students from Boise, Idaho. Like I said earlier, this event over here was my first digital photography opportunity for me. And then that helped Dance Mandal expose itself. Some of these pictures were turned into postcards later on and distributed for advertisement also. This one was at the Henjogi Temple in 2011. And I may have some years wrong, so please forgive me if I got the years wrong. And then after that, the temple was built, and then we started performing in the temple in-house. And this is Upa, you might know. So about taking pictures with Upa, I haven't spoken yet. So Prajwal had a poster on the wall of Upa from the performances they did before we met. And then whenever I came to Portland, I used to just stare at the poster and thought, I want to take pictures like that. I want to meet her. And things were already planned for me back then that I'll be meeting her and be living with her. So taking pictures of Upa at the temple was like a dream come true for me in her poses. This is Selena in 2014, and she was also an active dance performer back then. This is Yuko from Japan. She visited a few times the temple, and I was very happy to see her dances and her dance poses. And this is Corinne in 2014. And this was the 10th anniversary event of the temple in 2019. It was such a memorable event that we had spiritual leaders from different sects come and visit the temple and talk about and join us with the celebration. So this is more about the background. This is more about the background singers and performers than the foreground project over here.
No, this is not me. It's a Korean.
It's Korean. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, how could I tell? So this is Quan and Josh, John, Josh, and I could not remember the singer lady's name over there. So this is the team that's always in the background that you don't see when the lights are turned off and the dancer dances and there's a live singing and drumming going on in the background and announcements also.
That's a Jenny.
Jenny, thank you, Jenny. And this is Bobby. This is Anna. And you know her. I had to post this picture because did I mention that when we had the consecration, we had gods and goddesses join the ceremony. And I think at that time, Helen was the goddesses. She was the Tara. She was dancing with her, with the white broom, not necessarily a broom, but and she was dancing away, and you can see the joy on her face. And this, although I did not take this picture, I think this picture is worth sharing. So thank you for whoever took the picture. And this is one of the typical pictures you would see with Prajwal and Helen doing rituals at the temple. So I'm sure this is Prajwal though, because I wanted to have his picture included also.
That's me.
There he is. So with that, I end my talk over here. I enjoyed taking pictures back then. I could tell when each of the dancers would pose, would stop, and I can click. There was a communication between the dancing and the camera that I could feel. Always in the back of the stage, I would click whenever at each portion they had, and I knew exactly what to do. And so I could take a manual exposure, because taking dark photography is not easy. You have to expose the camera a little bit longer. So it has to be done when the pose has stopped. So it stops for only for a second or two. And that's when I mastered taking pictures of the dancers. So thank you. Back to you, Prajwal.
Oh, thank you. Okay, stop sharing so we can have also. Thank you, Suba. It was great, wonderful. It is amazing that to see that reflect backings into the reflections from the beginnings of that, how that movement is happening. So it was really wonderful. Thank you, Suba. And yeah, you're my friend.
Thank
So
you.
that is great. And still, there is a lots of people who are missing there in the dancings and volunteer. So it's also hard to sometimes.
Yeah, please forgive me if I have missed anybody, because I was just going through my pictures and for some reason Google was not showing me everybody. So I just had very little time to browse through my pictures.
Yeah, so thank you, and it's wonderful. So now we'd like to upon a little bit question and answer. If you have any questions for the Suba, for whatever it is, so it was lovely. So I'll leave it open for everyone's to be anybody have questions. So Suba, I have to say that it's like you're not doing the Bharta Banda, you're doing the Chuda Karma. So that's the wrong word to use for the young age rituals for the Vajra.
Karma.
Okay.
We call it Bodhisattva. That's all I know.
Bodhisattva Chuda Karma, that's the newer name and Sanskrit name. So just let you know. Yeah. But not the Bharta Banda. So you don't call the Bharta Banda. So yeah. Okay, we'll so raise your hand, and if you have any questions, please raise your hand and ask anything. Or unmute. Who's going to raise your hand?
Ask Suba to go back to Kalimpong picture one more time. I would like to add a little more.
Okay.
Go back to Kalimpong.
Okay, hold on just a second.
I also grew up in Kalimpong, and then when he was just a baby at the times. Make it full picture. Is that the only way? So in 1966, so I went to Kalimpong and then studied until 79. I graduated from high school in 72. So I was in 11th grade at the time. Then I took over becoming a librarian of this, Vihara at the time. So Suva was born in Kalimpong. Suva was born in Kalimpong, right?
No, I was born in Nepal, but I live.
So he did not mention that he was attending St. Augustine High School. It was one of the reputed English medium school in Kalimpong. Lots of people from Nepal, Kathmandu, they go to Kalimpong for study, for sending the kids to school. And then since we were living with his father and myself, so and then he was going to attend his brother, his sister, and everybody, attending Kalimpong, his school in Kalimpong. That's why his English is very good. So even better than mine at the time. So the reason I wanted to bring this picture again, so this temple called the Dharmodaya Vihara. So Dharmodaya Vihara is run under Dharmodaya Sabha. So going back to the Buddhist history, actually when the Nepal was running by Rana prime ministers, and then the Buddhist monks were expelled from Nepal. And then they assembled in Calcutta, and then some of the merchants from Nepal to Calcutta, they do back and forth, and then going to Lhasa, Kalimpong was on the way. So Kalimpong became a part of from many angles, Kalimpong was a part of the history of Newar language, and also the Buddhism, and also society. So everything. So this building was purchased as he mentioned, the Kalimpong Vihara in 1950s. So a lot of people, I grew up there. I visited there almost like every single day, because even I finished my graduate from college. So I used to visit there for every morning and do the study, because my place is kind of crowded. So because children, Suva was a child, children was playing around, so it was disturbing. So I used to go there for early morning at 5 and then come back home at 10 o'clock. So that means 4 or 5 hours every single day while I was attending college. And then this Vihara is one of the oldest Vihara outside Nepal at the time in India. So run by Newar Buddhist people. So, but based on not the traditional, Vajrayana Buddhism, but it's based on the Theravada Buddhism. So that's why this Vihara also, published a journal called Dharmodaya long time ago. So when I was finished my high school, I started re-editing from I think it was from 82, 84. No, before that, so 78, 70. So I ran for almost like 44 issues. So I was publishing from that year at the time. So all these historical things are very important for the writing the history of Nepal Bhasha and also for the Newar society. So I just wanted to emphasize this particular temple is one of the very important So now we have, Portland Vihara. So definitely, it has a more history than this one, but this Vihara is still running over there. But many people from Bihar, from Kalimpong, they left Kalimpong and spread out everywhere, and almost like everywhere. And then there are only few people left there. So it has been running under just a few people right now. But we keep in touch. And if you look, do the Googling, you will see the Kalimpong, the map of the Kalimpong is very, the hill area, very enjoyable. And whenever you have a chance to visit Nepal, please pay attention to go to this place also. It's in the district of Darjeeling. It's a very lovely place. I just wanted to emphasize, that's all, because probably Suva, did not cover up all the things, that's why I wanted to add a little bit. So that's all regarding the Kalimpong, but if anybody has a question, I will go with the Portland Bihar later on. So.
Thank you, Dede. Thank you very much, Dede. So, okay, Suba, so you can take off this sharing screen. Okay, anybody there to say anything? So raise their hands, unmute, so I can. So, take it right. Okay.
Hello.
Oh, this last one came here.
Hi, how are you, everybody?
Good, Lakshman, good.
He's looking from the windows. Are you looking from window out?
It is, I don't know, internet off.
He has internet problems.
Okay.
It's a great
Just,
smile.
yeah. So I don't know. You have a pros, yeah. You have a pros, so I don't know.
Oh, it's raining in Seattle. That's why it freezes.
Yeah, yeah. Good. Okay. Sounds like a, yeah. Sounds like a no more questions. So, and I should
Well, I want to say thank you, Suva. Here's Suva. Hi.
Thanks, Ellen.
That was so joyful. Really, what memories. Yeah. Just remembering the old days sitting in Rajal's apartment, sitting in your apartment,
Yeah.
conjuring up things, lots of ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was definitely something. I just browsing through the pictures I had, and those memories start coming back of those days of the struggles and of the good things, and where we went around and talked lots about the dance mandal events, and so it was worth it. So
Yeah, right. Just to go through that journey again.
yeah.
But you didn't show all your amazing flyers.
Oh, you know what?
That you came up with. You had so many wonderful flyers. And
we cleaned up the house. We cleaned up the house a few months ago, and I came across those flyers, and it's been so many years, and I had it. I had it until a few months ago, and I just said, okay, I don't really have room for this anymore. I had to give it away.
I know Pajal has them anyway. Yeah. Pajal still has them for sure.
Somewhere else, yeah.
Well, they're all archived.
Yeah.
We have an archive here, so recorded every flyers I have in my two worlds. Actually, I have that archive. So.
We have them all dated and filed together.
I had one of the little postcards that we sent out of. It was a dark background with a date in the front, and I had that right here in my wall for so many years. I literally took it out just a few months ago. It was there with me all the time.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Laxman coming back. Shall we?
Yeah.
So let's see where the Laxman goes.
Sorry?
Okay, Laxman, are you come back?
Yeah, I'm come back. Just have a little bit problem because I'm inside the car, so that way.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for meet everybody. I really enjoying that Zoom meeting.
嗯
Last time I had with everybody too. Yeah, Prasad mentioned what I love to talk about Vipassana. actually, actually, you know that after I did Vipassana, uh, like uh, like all the Buddhism, like somebody explained me in like a scientific way, mathematical way, like that way, I really like it. Like a like a projol and before like a Bajrayana, like when I start young time this and that time just for fun, you know, like I don't know much about it, and I take it as a like a god and goddess, more like that way. Now when after I did Vipassana, this all about science and mind and body, like just before like Stacy mentioned about the angry, like then I click on my mind. If somebody have a like a dance two times you know day, or like some sports, that endorphin like a chemical release, and if you meditate every day, serotonin will be released and the dopamine will be released. Somebody constantly inspired, and like another like oxytocin hormone, somebody hug and personally meet Projol and me or Suba and me, that oxytocin hormone leave. And this kind of 4 5 time of and awareness, most important awareness chemical come every like this 5 6 time of type of chemical. If you release every day 2 times a day, then there is angry, jealousy, or like ego. That kind of chemical doesn't release, you know, and that's I personally experience it. So, for example, like somebody like he make me angry, she make me angry, but actually, who is actually angry? Angry is me, and who released that angry chemical? Me, you know, and that was like a we nobody gonna be Buddha in one day, you know, like a nobody gonna be a Buddha or like a Tara or Yogini, but we can, you know, sometime. Like for example, like sometime like a Helen will be Tara for me, and sometime Stacy will be Tara. Last time I came in the over there, and Stacy gave me probiotics, some medicine, and that's I'm taking every day. I didn't ask her; she just gave me. That moment, Stacy is a Tara, you know, and that five 6 type of awareness, all chemical. If you release every day, then there is no depression, anxiety, angry chemical cannot release it. That I personally experience it, and some people think I'm crazy guy because Lakshmana always like talk about meditation. No, because I have problem. Sometimes I have a sleeping problem. Maybe I have sometimes depression, like anxiety, and to come this all kind of thing, I'll overcome. I do that. Like I went in second time Vipassana to overcome some anger inside me, and that was like last time I met in Terry in the Prozol place, and Terry explained me long time ago. Somebody explained in Nepal that a mathematically way kind of tara like that way, and I clicked it. Somebody explained me before like that way, you know, and like I really like that way that somebody explained me, and actually after being in Vipassana, I understand Vajrayana Mahayana more deeply than when I learned young time. Uh, uh, it's okay. That's I think I'm done. What I have to say. It's I think something problem here.
We should invite him for the whole session just to talk about what he knows. I think I'm gonna love it, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that was a more scientifically way our body and mind. That's the kind of thing is very good because like a dance is like a project is doing dance all the time. That endorphin, you know, that's released. So that was like a whoever visit in temple make happy everybody. Um, yeah, that's a I really appreciate very much Helen and Projo, like you guys have I last last Zoom meeting also said you guys have a not only kind heart also monk heart. To be monk heart is very important. I wish to have a monk heart like that way. I hope someday, but sometime I'll be, but not every time. Okay, nice to meet everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Laxman. That's great. So, okay.
Time to discuss more, or we're going to end soon?
So let me stop with the sharings right now. I don't think so we don't have a close, so we're going to close it here. I'll say that thank you very much for attending for this event. So we have one more events to go. So all day. So it's always screaming on us, in net. So please join. I don't know what it will be, how we're going to function. We'll see. But day after tomorrow, also the big performances happening international from Brazil, German, Japan, and Portland. So Brazil, Hong Kong, Japan, America. So that's the performances happening. So all welcome to join. And also in the mornings we have fire rituals, other things, but we may not be streaming everything because this will be too long for the screenings in the screen. So I don't know. That will be like at 8 o'clock today, 1 o'clock. So must be people get a bit tired with that. So anyhow, so I just want to thank you for all of you, and please join again. And this is a great way of celebration. So get to know the history and also get to know the peoples. So this is like the Nityamandal Mahavihara is getting bigger and bigger, and then and then we haven't even talked with how many pujari is been passed, now how many pujari is been in the present, so there's lots of things. We still have so many volunteers and helping for this to grow. So thank you for Suba. And the end, if you have anything to say, Suba, so please go ahead.
I really appreciate you, the team, having me come and talk about and share my experience with all of you over here. And I've been following this for a while, and doing this online is a very good thing. I mean, I guess this is a blessing in disguise for with the COVID happening, that all of a sudden we open our doors to the world, where people from all over the world can come and join and be in one place. So that's a very good thing that's happening, and especially Project being so proactive and posting and going live events, keeping very busy with the events, and I really like that. So yeah, thank you everyone.
Hey, thank you, Suba. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Thanks, Suva.
Oh yeah, they did schedule, Alex. It is scheduled so but we're not announcing the schedule right now. So it's always scheduled. So we have to make a schedule. So for performance, just let you know. So
Cool. Thank you.
okay, I'm going to stop sharing and also stop recording so we can have a chat.